What's going on, everybody? My name is Stefan Coons, and welcome to the Everyday Pursuit. Guys, this is the podcast where we talk about fitness, nutrition, training, and mindset, really all things related to health and fitness. So you're going to see a lot of different episodes. Some are going to be on mindset, like the last episode. Some are going to be on nutrition, like this episode. So if you like specific episodes or you feel like a topic would be helpful that I haven't done, please shoot me a DM on Facebook, on Instagram, on any of our social media. Reach out, because I actually have had a couple clients and people that aren't clients say, hey, could you talk about this? Could you make an episode on plateaus or whatever? I will make an episode specifically for you, because that's why I do this podcast. It's not for me. It is for you. All right. Without further ado, let's dive into the episode. So if you go back, you look at the title, Are Salads Making You Fatter? You might be like, wait, what? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly why I think you're overdoing it with salads and vegetables might actually be really harmful. But before we dive in too deep, I'm going to tell you a personal story for me about how vegetables changed my life in a good and a bad way. Okay. So I would say about in 2015, when I got out of the military. Before that, I really didn't eat vegetables. I mean, I ate some salads. I actually really enjoy salad just as like a food. And yes, of course, with dressing, I don't smother it, but I really just like salads. When I went out to restaurants, I'd order a salad. And of course, me being, a quote unquote fit person, people would be like, oh, you're getting a salad. I'm like, dude, I don't care if I was 500 pounds. Like, I like salad. I really do. And so I kind of just like, that's all I really ate though, just salads. And they were like just medium-sized salads, but I really wouldn't eat like the broccoli and asparagus. And I know a lot of people think fit people or bodybuilders are eating a bunch of vegetables. I didn't. Okay. I was on the opposite side. Like I really didn't. I didn't take any like green shakes. I took a multivitamin. So I thought, oh, I'm covered. Then about 2015, 16, I started doing a little more research on like, nutrition, and started understanding how it worked with the body. And I realized a couple things. Number one, I needed to have more fiber, and I needed to up my cardio. And I also needed to have less carbs, or I thought at that time, to be lean and to stay lean. So I spent probably from 2016 to like 2018, consuming a lot of vegetables. Now, at the beginning, it was challenging for my body to process these. So one thing I did for years, and I probably did this for like 40 years, seriously, maybe 3 or 4 years. And I only stopped it probably 6 months ago. And I'll tell you why in a little bit, but I started implementing a lot of veggies first thing in the morning. So what I would do is I'd have eggs, and with that, I'd put in a bunch of cauliflower rice, kind of steam that up, mushrooms, onions, spinach, sometimes bell peppers in with my eggs, right? So it's kind of like a omelet mesh, and I loved it. And it was a whole like big ass plate of food, like huge, but it was only like 4 or 5 eggs. And it really filled me up to where I felt like I was eating just a giant breakfast, right? Because the volume of it, like the actual physical size, was a lot. But if you know anything about vegetables, they really don't have a lot of calories. They're mostly water. There's not a lot of carbs in there. And if there are carbs, it's from fiber, both, I think, mostly insoluble, right? So I knew that, I want to eat a lot in the morning, but I want lower calorie and high protein and lower carbs. And I did that for years. Now, when I first started, it caused me a lot of digestional issues. Like I was really gassy. I was really bloated because my body had to get used to the higher fiber and the cruciferous vegetables such as cauliflower. Some people do not do well with that. But for me, I did that. And then I also was like, well, anytime I'm hungry, I'll have carbs, like carbs, like potatoes, oatmeal, but only around my workouts, and everything else is vegetables. Now, looking back, I was doing way too high intensity exercises to be eating like that many vegetables. I should have been eating like carb sources that had more actual carbohydrates to them. I'd like eat, a cucumber with some hummus. I really wouldn't use that much hummus, but I'm like, oh, there's some carbs in hummus. Really, I probably should have been eating like a bagel or some bread or some pasta, because I really was working out at a very, very high intensity. Now, I will say that this was probably the leanest I've ever been. I do think vegetables can help you. If you're consuming vegetables by like steaming them or eating them raw or adding like very light, like sauces, probably not salad dressings to them, that's fine. But this is where people get in trouble. And the reason I stopped that to tell you guys is like my taste buds just changed. I did this kind of like gut detox, and I think it honestly changed the microbiome of my stomach, and I just stopped craving it. In fact, it sounded gross. And now I just like haven't started it. Maybe I have to start it again, but I still consume a decent amount of vegetables, but something happened like 6 months ago where I just didn't crave it. And I used to eat like big bowls of salad and everything. The crazy thing is, once I stopped, I actually felt better. Like, I know that sounds weird, but I overall felt like better with my stomach. I wasn't as bloated. I wasn't as gassy. I didn't feel like as fatigued. And I've actually experienced this coaching clients before. They'll come to me. For an example, I have this female client I'm training right now. When she came to me, she's trying to lose weight, trying to lose, 40 plus pounds. And she's like, look, like I eat salads all the time. I eat a salad every night with like chicken and blah, blah, blah. Well, there's two things that are going to suck to that. Most people, they put a bunch of dressing on, which is, a couple hundred calories usually. Plus they put things in their salad. So really, ultimately, the salad's not as healthy as you think. And most of the salad you guys are using, like a spring mix or spinach, doesn't really have like that many nutrients. Not that it's bad, but it doesn't. So that's kind of the first problem. Second problem is it's causing, some people just don't digest like plant stuff that well. And so it's causing like all this extra fiber and stuff is causing her to be bloated, like not feel great. So I had her actually cut that out. I said, like, don't eat any vegetables, which I know sounds weird from a trainer, but take a multivitamin and take this green. I used, First Form Optigreens. And she's like, I feel literally after like 3 weeks, she goes, my bloating's gone. I don't feel as lethargic. I feel really good. And although whole foods are a better source, we're actually getting her in a more diversity of vegetables and micronutrients, AKA vitamins, by doing it this way. And it doesn't mean I told her never to eat vegetables, but she's doing like a big, salad bowl at her house with all this stuff in it every single night for dinner. And another thing that is kind of usually harmful, okay, so that's that. But another thing that I see is harmful is most of the people that are trying to lose weight are actually under eating. I know that sounds weird, but it is true. And the reason is they've been under eating for so long that they've damaged their metabolism. What they should be doing is eating more, but also lifting more and implementing strength training. And because they're not doing that, their metabolism is slowly reducing. And I meet several males, I mean females too, but I see a lot of males, and they're like, yeah, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to get skinny. I'm like, okay, cool. What are you doing? And they're like, yeah, I wake up and I eat like a couple eggs. I'm like, okay, cool. Off to a good start. And they're like, then I like don't really eat until lunch. And then I have like a chicken and some asparagus. And then I have like a salad for dinner. So I'm like thinking in my head, wow, okay, so you're under on your protein. You're way under on your fats, even if you had a lot of salad dressing, and you're 100% under on your carbs. So they have been doing that for 3, 4, 5 months. Of course, your metabolism's slow. Then when they do overeat, anything goes to fat because their metabolism's like so downregulated and damaged. And the problem is they might even feel kind of full because they're having all this fiber. Probably not, but like they're feeling full and they think I'm healthy. I'm eating just vegetables and chicken. And they're basically doing like kind of almost a keto or extremely low carb diet. But if you're supposed to be eating 2,000 calories a day for your maintenance, right? Or let's say even 1,500 a day calories a day for your fat loss if you're a smaller male, that person probably was only eating like maybe 700 to 900 calories, probably based on what they said a day. So once again, you're in a super big caloric deficit. It's too much for your body. Versus you could have just been strength training for an hour, and then you also could have ate twice the food, or maybe even 3 times, and been leaner. Another thing about carbohydrates, and this is why they're beneficial, and I'm not saying salads are bad, but this is why replacing it with like carbs are better, is when you see a guy or a girl and they look toned and full and muscular, part of the reason is because they have carb storage inside their muscle. So it's storing glycogen, which is stored glucose in the muscle. If went low carb, like if I went low carb right now, 3 days later, I'd look like I lost a ton of muscle. That's why when people are sick, most of the time they're like, oh, I feel like I lost all this muscle. No, you didn't. You lost glycogen storage within the muscle, which makes you feel and look more muscular and hard. So carbs actually make you look better, 100%. Your muscles look sexier, aesthetic, they look full and hard and capable because they're ready to rock and roll. They have that storage. So by eating a lot of vegetables, you're honestly reducing your glycogen storage a lot, and you'll definitely look a lot flatter on a lower carb diet, which if you're on a low carb diet and you're eating a bunch of salads, your ultimate goal is to probably look leaner and skinnier, right? That's like part of the reason you're probably eating a bunch of salads. So not that it's bad, but your salads might be super detrimental to you making gains. And now you really need to look at what you're doing. I'm not saying, excuse me, I'm not saying a salad is a bad thing. What I'm saying is if you're not eating very much and then your big meal is your salad, or you're eating 3 salads a day, fine, but what's in the salads? Now, if you're eating a salad where you put like black beans and maybe like some chips in there and chicken and you know, you're using a healthy dressing, fine. Like you could do that. Still a lot of calories. You can make I mean, if you've been out to eat, okay, at any restaurant, most salads are like 1,000 calories. It's ridiculous. Sometimes they're more than the meals because of the dressing, usually, and whatever else they put on there. So you can make a salad have a lot of carbs and fats and protein, but most people are eating light because they think if I eat less, then I won't be overeating and I'll lose weight. But the body is very smart, and it's a little more complicated than that. And so I just want you guys to understand that if this is you, if you feel like, wow, this kind of does sound like me, this is what I want you to do. I want you to just stop eating vegetables. Yes, I said it. Stop eating vegetables for 2 weeks. Just stop. And it doesn't mean you have to have like low fiber. You can get fiber from grains and other things. And I know, but like you reducing your fiber or cutting it out probably won't hurt you as long as your water intake stays high and you're still getting micronutrients. So I'd get on a really high quality multivitamin. I would take some type of greens. Like I said, I personally take OptiGreens 50 from First Form. That's just what I like. It's a low temperature processed USDA organic veggies. Yes, it's in a powder, but I can literally feel my body being like getting nutrition. So I feel good on that. So I take those 2 things. You could take something else, but those are just my recommendations off of what I've done and what I tell my clients, and just see how your body feels. Because you might say, well, but you said like, I'm not cutting out veggies. Okay, well, if the veggies are making you feel bloated, if they're making you feel tired, if they're making you feel shitty and hurting your metabolism, are they really that good? Where did you even get the notion from vegetables were good, right? I'm not saying they're not, but like, oh, just the society says so. Well, but are vegetables really good if they're causing those issues? And now for me, I was able to eat those veggies for years with really relatively no issues, but I have a lot of clients that have been eating salads and broccoli and all that forever, and they're farting all the time, which isn't the biggest deal in the world, but it's because they feel like bloated. Their stomach feels distended. They feel uncomfortable. The vegetables literally make them feel like tired and lethargic. And I'm not saying killer vegetables or you're necessarily allergic to them, but everybody's body reacts different, and they might be the downfall. The only way to see is cut it out. But if you're like, I'm so afraid to cut it out because I won't be getting my nutrients, then you're going to get it from the vitamins and you're going to get it from the greens. Cut it out for 2 weeks and see how you feel. Now, during that time, because you're not going to be eating the salads, I need you to do 2 things. I need you to up your strength training, unless you're already training 6 or 7 days a week. I need you to up your strength training a little bit and eat more carbohydrates, because you will look better, feel better, and perform better if you're eating more carbs. Now, there's a fine line. You know, if let's just say you're eating a lot of vegetables and you're eating like 60 carbs a day, don't go eat 200 carbs a day. It's too much of a jump. You know, you'll probably gain body fat. But let's say you're eating like 75 carbs a day, up it to like 120, 130. Just see if you feel better. Give it a couple weeks, and don't give it like 5 days. Give it like 2 to 3 weeks. Cut out the veggies. See if you feel better. And the reason I'm telling you that is because that client that I told you that wanted to lose 40 pounds, she did it, and she's finally losing weight and body fat. Every scan she gives me, she's gained muscle and she's lost body fat, except one scan, because we do ours every 2 weeks. And that was purely from her being like, look, I wasn't on my nutrition. But since she cut out the veggies, since she cut out the salad, she's had way better progress. She feels better. Like everything's going better for her. Now, like I said, doesn't mean she's not eating any vegetables, right? But she's not eating these huge portions, right? So just try it. Right? Your salads could be killing your gains. And if you're somebody to where you are like, well, I don't have a lot of salads, but you're like a dressing king or queen, you know what I'm talking about? Like your shit swimming in dressing. It's probably a good idea that you cut that out, because it probably is more calories, and most dressing is just really low quality vegetable oil, which causes a lot of internal inflammation. So you don't really want that, right? And it's not going to help you be full. You'll be a happier person having maybe a small little side salad and actually having a meal, as long as you put those carbs to work. Carbs are not evil. They are your friend, but they're only your friend if you're prioritizing training. And that's why I always tell people, that talk to me like, well, I'm supposed to start this diet and I'm supposed to exercise. Like, which one should I do? You should do both. However, if I had to pick one, I almost always say prioritize exercise over diet. I know that maybe is a little bit contradictory from what you hear other coaches do. And that's just because there's a lot more benefits that come from increased exercise versus reducing calories. Reducing calories, there's really no benefit besides weight loss, which is great if that's your goal. However, you could do the same thing with increased exercise. However, the increased exercise gives you a lot more dietary freedom because you're going to have more sensitivity in your muscles for glycogen storage. So now, over a year of strength training, right, instead of just being so focused on cutting calories, you've actually created more space for those carbs you eat, the yummy, fun stuff, the donuts, the bread, the bagels, the mimosas, whatever you're having, to be stored. So you're less likely to gain body fat and you have more muscle, which when you do go to cut body fat, it's doing more work and helping you. So like I said, if you eat more, you're going to have more energy to strength train, and then you won't have to like diet as much too. And nobody likes dieting. And if you're doing salads because you've been trying to diet and it's not working, you might as well try this. You have nothing to lose, right? You don't feel great most days. You feel skinny, fat, right? That's a kind of a telltale sign. You're like, I'm kind of skinny, but I feel like, kind of like sunk in and skinny, but I also like have a belly. That is a telltale sign of like damaged metabolism, right? And if you look, like, write a food diary, like, how much am I eating? Are you mostly eating like vegetables, like an animal, like a little rabbit, and then you're kind of sprinkling in some proteins and some fats? If that's you probably have a slow metabolism. It doesn't mean you can't eat like that for a certain period of time, but you don't want to stay there. So for me, if I went and cut out a lot of my carbs, I get really shredded in like 2 weeks by doing that. It's a great method. However, I'm not staying there. I'm doing that very temporarily just to like get my body into a huge deficit and not give it carbs. And so it has to tap into my stored body fat. But you best believe in 2 weeks or so, I'm going right back to eating like normal because I don't want to look flat and I want my body to function more optimally. So hopefully this episode was helpful. If it was, my ask for you is that you pause right now and you go leave us a review. That would be awesome. 5 stars preferably, but if it sucked, you can give us 1. Please don't give us 1. No, I'm just kidding. Also share the episode, please, as we don't run ads. And the only way that people really know about Pursuit Health and Performance and the Everyday Pursuit podcast is by sharing it. Share it, tag it on social media if you feel like it was helpful. That is my ask to you. I really appreciate it. And until next time, I love you guys, and we'll see you next episode.